Salwete, we're back, and we're going to be looking at the dative case now. So in the first grammar video, we talked about nominative and accusative, subject or doer, and object, direct object or receiver. Well, the dative is another kind of receiver. If you look at its word, remember it comes from the Latin word dat, or dare, which means to give. So it's an object also, but it's the indirect object, whereas the accusative receives an action directly from the verb, like the girl hits the friend, and this is the receiver. The dative is when a person receives an object from someone a lot of times. That's a good way of summarizing it. So we call that in English, it's an object, but it's an indirect object. Indirect is the English. So you could say it's a receiver of an object, but this could also be words or something like that. Receiver of something, maybe not an action, but an object. Okay, so what we could do is make an example. We'll say puella. What's she going to give him? She'll give him, a football, harpastum. Amico dat. So this says the girl, doer, gives, verb, a football, harpastum, okay, amico, to the friend. So you see these little boxes I have over here with prepositions. Some people find it really helpful to know when they need to supply English prepositions for Latin words, because a lot of times the preposition in English is included in this ending right here. This is the to, form, when you give something to somebody. So a lot of times in English you supply the English preposition to when you see a dative form. Okay. Another one that you can supply is for. I'm trying to think of an example, like he prepared wine for the guests, or something like that. You could say vinum parat, he prepared wine, hospitibus, and ibus is the dative plural, he prepared wine for the guests. Vinum parat hospitibus. So using to or for, if the wine was something prepared for them, they're the indirect receiver of the wine. These are functions of the dative case. Now the dative case has some other functions as well. Another function that's really important for the dative, I'm going to make a little line here, is that it is one way of showing possession. The Romans and Latin speakers use the dative to show possession. So I'll give you an example. You could say toga mihi est. Okay, mihi is a dative form. Literally this says there is a toga to me. Okay, or there is a toga for me, which means I have a toga. It's the same way of saying habeo, I have toga. Okay, togam, habeo togam, togam habeo. Okay, that means the same thing as toga mihi est. You're going to think maybe of nomen mihi est, right? Nomen mihi est. There is a name to me, or in other words, my name is. So sometimes the dative can show possession in this way. Okay, that's another function of the dative. It's pretty common. One last function I'm going to talk about is the dative is often used with some verbs that we're going to call special verbs. Okay, and I'm going to put it over here. Okay, special verbs, and there's lots of them, but I'm just going to put a couple here so you get the idea. Just a couple examples. Sometimes in Latin, a verb, in English we would think of it as taking the accusative, like if we say I believe you. Okay, I believe you that's an English, accusative in a sense, okay? But in Latin, we don't really say it that way. We say credo tibi. Tibi's a dative. I give belief to you is basically what that means. So credo tibi, okay? Credo tibi. The idea is like you're giving the object of belief or credit to somebody, to you. So it's like I'm giving you something still. It has the same idea of being an indirect object. But the belief that's given is in the verb itself. Another one would be phaweo, like I give support or I give favor to you. And then another one, sometimes the dative can be used to mean like direction toward also, like the English to as in going to a place, okay? So a word that is real common with that, I'm running out of room here, but we could say apropinquat, which means to approach, to draw near. That goes with the dative, okay? Apropinquat. Apropinquat Italiae. He approaches Italiae to Italy. So he makes his approach to Italy. So these are just 3 examples of verbs that take a dative as their object. In a sense, it's like an indirect object. Sometimes it's kind of like a direct object. But these verbs just always go with the dative, and there's a lot of verbs like that. There are many, and you're going to see a lot of those verbs in Virgil, particularly verbs that are compound verbs often will take the dative, and sometimes they'll take other cases like the ablative too, which you might not realize because in English they sound like they should take the accusative. So that's a dative. Quick summary, it's an indirect object, like puella harpasta amico da. It can show possession, or it's used with these special verbs, like these credo, phaweo, apropinquat, apropinquo, to just name 3 examples.